Hi and welcome back to Bride Society. Today we're talking about high street wedding dresses. There seems to have been a big increase recently with high street stores creating their own bridal ranges. Obviously these are at a much cheaper price point than the traditional bridal shops, so we thought we'd have a look at some and let you know what we think. So today we're going to start with Dorothy Perkins. The lovely Rebecca has agreed to try some of them on so we can show you what they actually look like on a person rather than just seeing the pictures on the screen, because a lot of these are online order only. You can't go into a shop and see what they're like before you buy.
And I'm also not a 5'9" size 8 model, so real world modelling for you here.
Okay, first up we've got Arabella, which is a short style dress with a Bardot neckline and a fit and flare shape. It's £150 and it's ivory. So,
yeah,
what did you think?
Yeah, well, we did a combo of you sort of just giving me comments on how you thought I looked in it. Well, not how I looked in it, but how the dress looked with me in it and how I felt in it as well. Didn't we?
Well, initially when it came out of the bag, I did think the material felt very rough, and I think you found it quite scratchy.
Yeah, it was super scratchy. The skirt's fine, like that's that, and the bodice does have a lining on the inside that's smooth, but where there is no lining, like around the top, and where the like the sash is around the middle on the seams, is super scratchy. It was doing my head in. Although you kind of get used to it after a while, so, but you know, the cost of fashion, it depends how you feel about comfort.
And actually we thought the benefit of a short dress like this was if you wanted to show off some pretty amazing shoes, then that would be possible. You'd be able to see your shoes, or it could be a party dress, so if you wanted it as a second dress in the evening,
dance in it.
Yeah, you could get changed halfway through and maybe feel a bit less restricted, although I think with the arms...
Well, yeah, this was the thing, so you might be able to move your legs, but your arm's going to be a bit like this. So it's very nice for standing still, but yeah, if you want to be able to sort of move your arms quite a bit, like there's not a lot of give in the upper body area, just because of the style of it coming across, and there's no stretch in the fabric.
We also did notice there were quite a lot of loose ends on a lot of the fabric. It wasn't finished quite as well as you'd perhaps want for your wedding dress.
Yeah. Which was true for a lot of these dresses actually.
And whether that was just that particular one and other ones would be better, I don't know.
You could easily trim it with a pair of scissors without damaging it. It's just a shame to pay for a dress and then have to do that. But like I say, could just spin that one.
Okay, next up we've got Alessandra. That's described on the website as a fishtail silhouette. It's got lace and beading on the top of the dress. It is described as slim fitting, and also it's ivory and is £150. Now when Becky came out in this dress, I definitely thought this is a va-va-voom dress.
That was the initial thought, wasn't it?
It's a very different style to the Arabella. So it shows that Dorothy Perkins has shown a range of styles on offer, which is great. What did you think of this one?
I think if you've got particular areas of your body that you really like and want to emphasise, this is a good dress to do that, particularly from behind, I would say. The fabric was really nice and soft in this one, not scratchy at all. And the straps at the back were adjustable as well, so obviously we can adapt that, which is really a positive point. The downside was that the dress has a zip down the left hand side, obviously to help you get in and out of it, but because it's so slim fitting, as soon as you move and things, like there's obviously a stiffness to the zip, and so it kind of bulges out and gives a slight weird line.
You could see where it was coming out, and it would be noticeable, I think.
Yeah.
If you were wearing it all day.
Yeah, and it's not the sort of dress where you definitely have to consider your underwear and all this kind of thing, because you will see everything. And you know, so I say if someone's confident about like showing your figure and that kind of thing, it is a great dress for that. But it's going to be very specific to a shape.
Yeah, and if you're conscious of any kind of lumps and bumps, it might not be the dress for you, unless you want to emphasise them and feel confident.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah, that's the thing. In terms of the length of the dress, like for me, coincidentally, it would have been perfect with my shoe, like with my wedding shoes on that I threw on just to make sure. So just give you some context. So I'm 5'7". My shoes are just
about 3 inches.
Yeah. So like 8 centimeters.
Yeah.
So just to give you some relativity. So obviously these dresses only come in one length, so you can make dresses shorter. It's pretty hard to make them longer, so something to bear in mind when
and one
ordering.
thing I did notice, comparing the dresses that were all described as ivory, there was a difference in the colour. Like this ivory was very different to the Arabella dress. Less so when it was actually on you.
Yeah, I think one thing we would say is, like, when you order these dresses and open the bag, try not... You can be a bit more horrified, I think, when you first see it, particularly this one.
Yeah, we opened it and thought that's very yellow.
Yeah.
But it looked much better.
Yeah, I think next to skin tone rather than a white bag, it helped it a lot. So, yeah, I think that's it for that one.
Next we have Clara, which is described as a column dress with a contemporary high neckline, and it has 3D floral applique on it. This was my favourite dress from the website, so I had high hopes. It's also described as ivory and is £150.
Yeah.
I have to say, it didn't live up to my expectations. I was a bit disappointed with how it looked on.
That could have been my fault.
It was also... This dress was shorter than the previous long dress.
Yeah. So we'd ordered all the dresses in the same size. They were all size 10. And obviously I didn't change my height between them or change my shoes. But yeah, this one that would have been too short technically. Really.
Although whether that's a style of the dress, I'm not sure if a column dress is supposed to be slightly...
But it didn't, to our eye, it didn't look right. So...
Yeah, I did find that the fabric could look sparse in some places. The appliques that were on it, I think it was purposeful that some areas were left more exposed. I think there was a lace underneath, but it didn't look as though it was supposed to be like that. It looked as though some of the fabric had come off the dress and you were left a bit patchy. I thought anyway.
Well, not like it had fallen off and it was damaged, but like that's what you're thinking. Yeah. I don't know as I felt as strongly on that, but...
And this is the thing, these are all personal opinions, so you might love the dress. And as I say, I loved it online, so...
Yeah, and I still think it was one of my more favourite ones, of the ones I tried on, to be honest. But it was a little bit see-through on the lower half. Again, probably because it's a little bit patchy in the sort of the thicker areas where there's more detailing, so if you were really looking hard, you would see things. But again, the fabric did feel nice. It was a nice soft dress. It has a nice slit up the back in the centre. Not really high or anything, but enough that it doesn't mean that you're having to like waddle or anything.
So you
can walk in it. You could dance in it. You can move. You can sit down. Always a bonus. We did think this one would look quite nice if you added a sort of decorative belt around the waist.
Which would be a good way to kind of jazz it up a bit or personalise it, so it felt a bit more special, perhaps.
Yeah, so jazz it up a bit. Bland it up a bit.
Yes.
And we did take some picture options like to demonstrate that, so you'll be able to see those as well. To give you a taste of that. You've had feelings about the zip.
Oh yeah, just with a lot of them, the zip quality didn't feel the best. They did have problems. They all went up and they were all fine, but it wasn't the easiest of mechanisms, I guess you'd maybe call it.
She was left with the responsibility of doing me up in all of them, so I'll take her word on this one.
Next we've got Juliet, which is one of the cheapest of the dresses that Dorothy Perkins do in their bridal range. It's £85, described as off-white and is a Grecian style. And this again was very different to the other styles that you'd also tried on, so just another option.
Potentially the most definitely the most simplistic of the styles that we sampled, wasn't it? But yes, so in it I felt like it was a very comfortable dress, you know, and it certainly hides anything you might want to hide, and particularly like maybe if you're going somewhere hot, it's certainly it's a lot of airflow. Like
we thought it would
not
be
heavy
really,
in any way.
We thought this one would be good for a destination wedding because it was so lightweight, and that kind of floaty style.
Yeah, in that way. By the same token, it's a slightly risky dress, just in that because of how it fits across the top, it's kind of quite low cut in the middle, and yeah, if you sort of have prone to poor posture perhaps, and you sort of slouch, or you're bending over a lot to maybe kids, or just
to greet people.
Yeah, you know, bending over. There's a definite risk of showing more than you would perhaps desire, but there's always tape options and things to get around that. It's not the end of the world.
Just something to be aware of.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our sense of it, coming back to this sort of simplicity thing, was maybe that for us it was maybe too simple for a wedding dress, where you kind of want it to be the best dress you've ever worn kind of thing. But you could do things about that. So you could keep the dress simple and go all out on the jewellery. Maybe jewellery's your thing and that's what you want to do, or you like maybe like a floral crown or something that will go both with the style.
There's definite
and
ways to style
without being too busy.
Yeah.
The other thing again was the idea of the belt, and which is again something we took some photos to give you an idea of how that might look with it. The length was great on this one again. We're back to sort of being a good...
Yeah, and on the website this one is described as a floor skimming dress, so this one is definitely meant to be a long floor length dress.
Yeah, and again a little bit, well actually very see-through on the bottom, so risk of flashing at the top and kind of pretty see-through at the bottom. So again, maybe you want to wear an underskirt or again reconsider your underwear and that kind of thing. But so, you know, maybe if you're keen on this dress, just get it in plenty of time before your wedding, so you've got time to play with those other options. So you feel confident when it comes around on your day. There were some poor finishings on it, or at least on that particular one that we got sent.
On the sash, a few
like
threads
the
on the
end. Yeah, it was all sort of
but
snake.
again, nothing you couldn't just snip off with some scissors. Next we've got Daphne, which is another short option. It's £150. It's got a lace top and tulle skirt, and described as off-white on the website, although we did feel it was more definite white.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much whiter you could have gotten really, but...
So that's just something to be aware of.
Yeah. So, yes, this was we had a mixed reaction really to this, didn't we, when we had it on. So again, it's another one because of the length that, you know, would be great for movement, you know, if you just prefer shorter dresses, you like dancing, all that kind of thing, like, so you can do that. And it will have nice movement if you want to twirl around, like in your first dance and that kind of thing. The skirt has a kind of like sparkly sheen to it, I would say.
Yeah.
So I felt a little bit like a fairy, which may be totally what you want, and that's absolutely fine. But yeah, and also with the skirt, sort of at the hip, it sort of poofs out not even slightly, quite a bit.
Yeah, it rolls over the hip.
Yeah.
It emphasises them, so that's, if you're conscious of your hips, that might be something just to think about.
Yeah. So with it on, it certainly wasn't the one I sort of felt the best in, kind of thing. And also with the top, although it you know, it fits, and to be fair, all these size 10s, as a size 10, I would say, with the clothes, like I wouldn't have ordered a different size having put them on. But there's not much forgiveness in the sleeve, and the seams underneath at the top and the sleeves were quite hard, like that on you. And again, another really scratchy one where the fabric was touching me at the top. Again, maybe I'm more sensitive than some songs, or you may be more hardcore than me. So don't let that necessarily deter you. Just something to bear in mind. A see-through again.
Yes, it's
in the bottom.
A theme that we noticed with a lot
Everyone
of the
wants to
dresses.
see my underwear.
So yes, I think as long as you choose your underwear wisely, or consider maybe, as you said before, some sort of underskirt, you might feel more confident in knowing that people can't see through the dress to something you might not want them to see.
Unless you really want to wear hot pink underwear and really go for it. But you know, it's up to you.
So the final dress we tried on was Evangelina, and it's £150 again. It's described as a subtle fishtail style, and it's got 3/4 length sleeves and it's all over lace. So this was the most typically bridal of the dresses, we thought.
Yeah.
And again, it was described as off-white, but again,
Very
white.
Basically. This was quite a nice one to have on. I felt quite good in it. Although we felt the lace maybe looked a little on the cheap side, which to be fair it is, you know. But this dress was nice and soft, like it was like the fabric was comfortable to wear. You know, I felt like it fit perfectly fine. Again, it's another one of a sort of style that's more figure hugging. So yeah, again, if it's an asset you like to emphasise, again, particularly from behind, that was definitely, I was being hugged for sure. But I felt in a flattering way, and this one I felt was maybe more forgiving in that sense than the earlier figure hugging dress that we described.
A good point about this dress was it already had the belt detail on it.
Yeah, and it's a nice belt as well.
Yeah,
we felt.
I think it's a diamante style belt that is sewn onto the dress, so you can't remove it. But it added a nice kind of feature and focal point, so you wouldn't need to add anything else to it.
Yeah, and the length was okay on this one as well. Again, for me, it will be my height. It would be perfect. But yeah, we felt that was okay, didn't we? I think really, again, the only negative that we kind of felt was again just the finishes. So there was like quite a few pulls on the fabric. Again, could just be that one dress, but it's because there's so much detail on it. I think, you know, there's just lots of little bits.
Yeah, and they weren't too noticeable on this because it was all lace. There's a lot of detail going on, so it wasn't too noticeable, but they were there.
So yeah, I think that's the lot.
So there are a couple other dresses on the website that we didn't order because they didn't have the size that we wanted.
Just by default, so they weren't being rejected by us. But
so if you're looking for maybe a cheaper alternative, if the dress isn't the most important feature to you, you want a nice dress but don't want to break the bank, it's a great way to go and see what's on offer, see if you like any of the styles.
Yeah, because we know it horrifies some people, the idea of spending all this money on a dress you'll only wear for one day kind of thing.
And it is a big investment if you, especially,
Or maybe you want a second dress for the evening, and that's what you want to do, or you just want a change at some point during the day and you haven't got the budget to do two massive dresses. So
I think there are definitely a lot of positives in the dresses. Few kind of ones we weren't quite as sure about.
But I think the thing was, like, compared to on the hanger when they arrived, we suddenly went, oh, we're not sure about this, and then we put them on, and I think they all improved for being on a body kind of thing. So don't freak out when you first order it or put it on. Put it on before you pass judgment on them, I say. And I think overall we were maybe, at least for me anyway, knowing something's coming from like High Street Bridal, there's preconceptions I think that I had that came with that, and I think overall my opinion has improved on this experience of having seen them. And what did you feel about
I think they were all great options actually. I mean, yes,
not all a taste,
but I do think if the High Street are putting out collections like this, there are definitely dresses for everybody.
Perfectly acceptable.
What we're going to do, we're going to link all the dresses below so you can go and have a look for yourselves online.
Bit of me catwalking, as you'll have already seen, and some photos from different angles and things, so that you can get another perspective look on obviously what's already on their website.
So hopefully this has been useful, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, so if you wanted to review some of the high street stores, then please just let us know. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.